of the last 5 winners of the Melbourne Cup have travelled over from Europe, but there was a time when this was deemed near on impossible. The trainer to break the mould and prove the doubters wrong was Dermot Weld, who in 1993, from his base here in County Kildare, sent Vintage Crop all the way to Australia to become the first Northern Hemisphere trained winner. 9 years later, he did it again in arguably one of the most memorable renewals of the race. So if you're talking about Melbourne Cup history, then this place is brimming with it.
Well, in 1992 was the year that Vintage Crop really came forward, and I knew I had a horse good enough, I thought, that could challenge for a Melbourne Cup. He was handicapped in 1992, but we couldn't bring him there. It just was not possible or practical. So there started interest in Australia, and David Burke, Les Benton were the two men in charge in Australia and Melbourne. And between the Department of Agriculture in Canberra and Dublin and Brussels, over the next year, it was all put together.
Ready for a start in the 1993 Melbourne Cup, and they're off. Drum taps began well to a big roar from the crowd. Cavalieri dropped in behind them with great Vintage. Silk Harley began fast. Vintage Crop was away smartly as just behind them.
And talk to me about the run-in, the preparation for Vintage Crop running into that year's Cup.
He travelled reasonably well, but we got him well rehydrated. He was very happy out in Sandown. And initially, it took him a while to acclimatise. He was for a very brave horse, a very tough horse. He was a little bit delicate, and this was a big adventure for him. And it took me a while just to get him right. And it was only basically in the last 3 or 4 days before the race that I was happy with him.
Vintage Crop, the Irish horse will win the Melbourne Cup. Vintage Crop, 2 lengths to Yarkow. Nick just held second.
And what was the experience like being a trainer in the Melbourne Cup? Such a different race day, the atmosphere.
It's a wonderful race day. It's one of the great race days of the world. It's one of the great events of the world. And it was very, very special.
I just want to thank everybody for their help and everybody here in Australia who's made me very welcome.
And fast forward 9 years to 2002, Media Puzzle's turn. How was his build-up? How much had the challenge of getting horses out there changed in those 9 years?
Every year it's become easier. We went with Vinnie Rowe, and he was the best horse I sent to Australia that didn't win a Melbourne Cup because he was unfortunate. He ran into Macavediva. And we went with Vinnie Rowe and with Media Puzzle.
And describe the situation around Damien Oliver and his decision to ride in the race.
Damien had ridden Media Puzzle, and he'd won the Geelong Cup, and he was very impressed by the horse. And then, sadly, of course, his dear brother was killed. And the tragedy, and the big question was whether Damien was going to ride in the Melbourne Cup or not. Was I going to bring another jockey from Ireland? What Australian jockey was I going to use? And I just said I was going to wait as long as I could on Damien and hope, you know what I mean, that he would agree to ride the horse. Damien saw my interview on television and contacted me and said he wanted to ride.
Didn't he win that Geelong Cup with some authority? He broke the track record. Damien Oliver on board. Wouldn't we love a win for Ollie and Media Puzzle?
What was that like then, legging him up in terms of you thought he obviously had the mental space to deal with the pressure?
You know, as a top professional in any sport, when you agree to commit yourself, you're going to be at your best. And I never had the slightest worry.
They come into the straight now, and Media Puzzle's gone up with Vinnie Rowe, and they share.
What I recall clearly was those two horses, Pat Smullen riding Vinnie Rowe, Damien and Media Puzzle, and 2 horses turned for home upsides in the Melbourne Cup. And I looked back behind them, and I really couldn't see anything was going to catch them. Media Puzzle was getting 12 pounds from Vinnie Rowe, and that just made the difference.
But Damien Oliver riding with the spirit of Jason, out by 3 on Media Puzzle. I think he's got the cup won. Beekeeper Mr. Prudent are running on from Vinnie Rowe, but it's Media Puzzle clear, and Media Puzzle. Damien and Dermot have done it. Media Puzzle beats Mr. Prudent, Beekeeper, Vinnie Rowe 4, and then came fantastic.
Melbourne Cups don't mean a thing to me anymore. I'd give it back right now to have my brother back.
Can you believe Media Puzzle? It's been 20 years since his victory.
Long time,
Well, not
but
that.
still remember it
It
clearly.
It wasn't too long ago. Yeah, it doesn't. Does it feel 20 years?
No, it doesn't. Time flies, and it was just a very special day again.